Welcome to the very exciting submodule about legal framework and permitting processes of geothermal heat pumps in Europe. So we will go through all 27 member states of the EU and discuss their legal framework and permitting procedures. I hope you are excited to get started with... Yeah, no, we're not going to do that. First of all, I wouldn't even know all the procedures. So if you have a current list of all of them, then please let us know. And secondly, there are a lot of projects out there that already have discussed the legal framework of various EU countries. Find them in the reference list at the end of this submodule. So, but what I do want to show you now are the aims and the development of the regulation. Why do we need this anyways? Since it's just a renewable source, everybody could just use it. Would be way faster than having to deal with the regulations and licensing. Well, the regulation on the use of shallow geothermal energy has to stimulate the sustainable use of this renewable energy source. It has to prevent an excessive impact on the environment, including the neighboring installations. It also has to try to foresee criteria and measures that will function in different situations in the coming decades. It has to promote the identification of areas with the highest potential in such a way that different renewables can be distributed most efficiently with respect to space and time in the community. All this has to be developed continuously through monitoring, reporting, and the permitting activities of the geothermal heat pumps. So the aims of the regulation should be sustainable use of the resources. Current development of regulation for geothermal heat pumps is moving towards a non-consumptive use of the groundwater and towards energetically balanced system with annually favorable ratio between heating and cooling, which ensures a sustainable use of the resource. Furthermore, regulations have to provide legal certainty of stakeholder investments. Conditions have to be created so that legal consequences are predictable and ideally not time-consuming. Best case would be a one-stop shop where the application form is handed in online and only once. Furthermore, equal opportunity is important to ensure a fair use of the resource. And overcoming the first come, first served principle would be beneficial in that case. The regulation can then work on 4 different areas to achieve those mentioned goals. Permitting and charging procedures, including concessions or permits, implementing and operating the geothermal heat pump itself during the whole process, from regulations for drilling, reinjection, quality control, and also monitoring all the way to abandonment. Specific regulations can be in place for special areas and special geological conditions. And the final area of public services comprises, for example, subsidies, but also registers of installations. So how is the situation in the EU? We have European policy that drives EU directives, which then have to be implemented into national legislation. So for geothermal energy, there is a definition according to the Renewable Energy Directive, but a definition of shallow geothermal energy, which would be relevant for the geothermal heat pumps, is not available in the EU. As you can see on this map, such a definition is actually not available in most of the EU countries. Only green-colored countries have a legally binding definition of shallow geothermal energy. And stay tuned because we will look into the relevant EU-wide directives in part 2.